Recording.
Okay. I'm going to start by reading the script for remote meetings. As a preliminary matter, I'm Mary Ann Easley, Chair. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. So when I call your name, please say here for the camera. Abby. Here. Erin.
Here.
Arlene.
Here.
Lisa.
Here.
Mary Ann here. Thank you. Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Jericho.
In attendance. No
And-
Laura today.
No Laura? Okay, is she not at work today?
I think she had today as scheduled vacation.
Okay. So we don't have any speakers at this meeting, so I have to say that. Good afternoon. This open meeting of the Council on Aging is being conducted remotely pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will not feature public comment. For this meeting, the Council on Aging is convening by video conference via Zoom app as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that some attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you and to take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. And that is out of the way. Thank you. The first thing I have to ask for is approval of today's agenda, which everybody received in advance. So, and I have to go down the list of names to get your approval by yay or nay. So, Abby,
Yes.
okay, you're
Yes.
approving the agenda. Erin, approval of the,
Yes.
Arlene,
Yes.
Lisa,
Yes.
Linda, approval of the agenda.
Yes.
Yes, Mary Ann, yes. Okay. Everyone should have received the minutes of the last meeting, which was actually May, a century ago. So I need somebody to suggest approval of the agenda. So does somebody?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Okay, thank you,
Or the
Linda.
minutes.
Linda, approve
The minutes.
minutes of the last meeting, moved by Linda to approve. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
it. Okay, Abby and Arlene at the same time. Okay, again, I have to go down the list to approve the agenda. Abby,
You're gonna love it.
I'll take-
Motion to
take that as a yes.
vote for approval.
Vote for approval of
The
the
minutes.
agenda.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
We did-
I did that and she seconded. it.
Yeah, we're doing roll call.
Erin,
Yes.
Arlene,
Yes.
Lisa,
Yes.
Linda,
Yes.
Mary Ann, yes. So that's the minutes. Okay, now we can move on to the body of our meeting today. The first thing I want to do,
Can we, before, point of order, before we move off of the agenda, I know we approved it. Did you discuss with them that things were changed on this agenda,
This agenda?
or was it the other one?
The other one.
Okay, because I have to go right into this from here.
Yeah,
Done with
they're
this.
the same next
We
meeting.
have the same.
No, this is-
okay, Earth
That's
to
fine.
Linda,
We're-
you're now
we're
the
in really
council
good
on
shape.
aging.
That's why I have this here and this here, because this is the next meeting.
Okay, you guys, stop being nervous about your next meeting
I know.
Our
and
next meeting isn't
come
gonna
here
be
and be with
entertaining.
us.
All right.
Lisa Sherburne has joined us as a new member, and I'd like to take this chance to welcome you.
Thank you.
And maybe you'd like to say a few things about yourself, especially why you decided that you wanted to be on the Council on Aging, and then we can each introduce
Did
ourselves.
you get sworn in?
No,
Okay,
Pardon?
she can't vote. Don't
That's
count
okay.
her vote.
That's fine.
Okay. You have to go down to the town clerk
I
and get sworn
tried,
in.
okay, I have
And
all
do
that
the little,
paperwork,
okay.
okay,
But she can't vote until that time.
okay.
So just do
We're
it.
not going to be
Everybody
voting on
has it.
anything.
Try
to do that,
And-
yes,
she can
and we
introduce
do have-
herself.
We do
We
have
have
a
a
quorum, so
quorum
we're
now.
good.
Yeah,
Some of you know me, some don't. I'm Lisa Sherburne, I've lived here for
gosh, 35 years. Just decided I wanted to be on the Council on Aging because I feel like sometimes seniors are a forgotten group, and I really care a lot about seniors and seemed very interesting and thought I could lend some ideas, hopefully, and learn some stuff as well.
And you've been here a long time.
Long time. Yeah, time to do something. So,
Great, thank you.
Great.
Good idea
Glad you feel
joining us.
mentored.
Thank you.
We're great.
Yeah. We do good stuff.
and seniors are great.
So let's start in this room. Could you introduce yourself, Linda? You,
Yeah.
you know too much about?
Yeah, we're
Okay.
good. Lynn and I are good.
Abby,
Let's
met
see.
Lisa before?
No, I don't think we
No.
have, but I've lived here since, I don't know how many years this is, about 2004. Came as a summer child. And I've been on the HDC for about, I don't know, 16 years, started with the Sconset Advisory. And so I live in town and
You're on the HBC.
yeah, on the HDC and what else do I do? Sort of a golfer, I guess.
I was gonna say.
Well, I try to hit the ball straight.
For those of you who are on Zoom, Erin, could you introduce yourself so Lisa knows who you are?
You're still
Oh,
mute.
yeah,
You're on mute.
Erin's muted and she's talking.
You're on
All
mute.
right, it's only been how many years of this? Nice to meet you, Lisa. My name is Erin Lynch. I run a home care and care management business here on the island. I've been here for 10 years. And I also have two little kids, a 1-year-old and an almost 3-year-old. So I'm in the thick of it, but everything is great. And I love working with the seniors, and my goal is to address and meet the needs of our senior community. So that's why I'm a member.
It's awesome.
Thank you. Arlene,
Yes.
could you introduce
I know
yourself?
Arlene as well.
Yeah.
No
You
introduction
already know each
necessary.
other?
You don't know her.
We're good.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi, nice to see you.
It's good to see you again. Lisa actually helped, I think you helped me get my home on Essex Road, I think, didn't you?
It's a long time
Remember
ago.
that?
Yeah.
Long time ago. So, since I've seen you, I've been running my company for over 30 years successfully, and I am happy to be part of this group. I have a big soft spot for seniors. And I'm also, on the board of the, Friends of Our Island Home. And I work closely with the NCEA, so I have a lot of connections, if you will, that is supportive to the senior community and becoming a senior. So
Oh, me too, my gosh.
Yeah.
it's all good. Yeah.
Nice to
Thank
see
you.
you.
Erin's could be a child.
And I have met you before, Lisa, but I'm probably the seniorest of the seniors on this group. I just hit 80. this
Oh,
year.
good for you.
Over the top side.
And I definitely did celebrate for almost a week.
Oh, that's
So that was
good.
good.
Fantastic.
And I've been on this board, I guess about 5 years now. I started with Allison when she was the chair, before Jericho even was here. So.
And she's chair for life. Everybody told that.
No way.
I'll be here at 90 having a birthday party.
I love it.
But welcome, it's really
Thank
nice
you
to
so
have you
much.
here. I'm gonna move down on the first thing on the agenda, which is probably a really important thing. I wish we had everybody here to discuss it, but we wrapped up the Senior Man and Senior Woman of the Year, and I think things went well from their point of view. Both of them seemed really happy to be named.
Very.
We had a wonderful luncheon for them. Some of you were there. And I think they were really good choice. Hard as that choice is to make every year for us, but if there is anything on anybody's mind, especially suggestions for how we could improve the process or complaints about the process, there are probably plenty of those. This is the time to get it all off your chest.
Well, I would suggest, Madam Chair, when we send out the form again, so Lisa can see what the form looks like. And then we should probably put some comments in writing, as you know, I have plenty. To Jericho, and then we can digest it at the next meeting. That way everybody can take a look at the form again.
Okay, but I think it's getting pretty far away from the actual event of us making the choice, so I'd like to not miss yet another opportunity closer to the choosing. So,
I will circulate the form around. I'll get Laura to
Okay.
pass that around. And I'll definitely receive any feedback from that. That would be, great, Darren, to be honest. And then, from my point of view, both on the Laura organizing side, she seemed to do a fantastic job. It runs like clockwork every year on that front. And then the deliberation process this year was actually pretty smooth. I'm liking that we've kind of fully implemented the ranked choice voting system here. And I think that it makes it really easy for like us to sort of decide who is the most deserving of a particular award. So on my end, I thought it went pretty well this year, actually.
Well, as you know, my comments were that the person we choose shouldn't be the most popular, because the ones that we changed at the last minute was, I adore her. But the person that I nominated myself did so much for the community without everybody knowing that she was doing that stuff. And so she was one of those unsung heroes, and she had her finger in multiple things. She's now moved to up where I'm going in New Hampshire. I'll see her up there. And that was my problem. The most popular people, everybody knew, everybody popular. That shouldn't be why we vote for somebody. It should be, we vote for somebody who has the biggest impact in the community, even if we don't know them well, they're not friends, et cetera, we haven't worked with them. It should be the person who gave us the most, and one maybe that's the most unsung. And I think both of them were like that, both the male and the female. So that was my biggest issue with this year, which is why I campaigned so hard for the one who eventually got the vote. Because I thought I would vote for that other person in a heartbeat if I didn't have this person in front of me that did everything with Habitat and hospice and everything else. So that was my problem with how we did that initially, before everybody sort of had that more in-depth discussion. So I think maybe we should have more in-depth discussion.
Yeah.
We should
that's
look
what
at
I was gonna
everything.
say.
yeah, Abby, go ahead.
I was going to say, I didn't know a lot of the people, and I was wondering if we could get that bio a little bit earlier than we are going to vote on it, so we could see, what their contributions were like. And, just a couple of weeks so we could digest it and have our votes, like.
I think we
We
did.
closed the voting at the Friday before our meeting, so
Yeah.
we had from Friday end of day until our Wednesday meeting, which has been kind of typical.
But I
We could
understand.
close the voting earlier.
I understand what Abby's saying though, because I had a lot of that information, but then I ended up with it with Jericho on a sticky. So what may change on the application page is a more in-depth as to how they contribute to the community. Because, it's pretty much check this, check this, check this, just because they have a little blurb on the bottom. And almost everybody in one case, the same blurb, the same blurb, the same blurb. So my concern is that you're right. Not everybody had everything that everybody does. It's not just they go to church every week. It's not that people like them, that they're great people. What have they contributed in depth to the community, which gives us a little bit more on the bio side, which isn't really necessarily on the truncated form. So that was my question, is that we changed the form to include a list of all their activities or their contributions.
Or maybe ask them to write a paragraph. I nominated someone a couple of years ago, and this really deserving person that does things. Anyway, and I couldn't really, like, I guess I could have written just a novel, but I just kind of
Well, even if it's just.
thought I
this.
could have done a little better, maybe. Like, he didn't get chosen, but
I mean, this year it was like two sentences, two
Yeah.
sentences on one person in particular who is absolutely deserving. But it was because everybody was friends, everybody worked with them, everybody was over at the other NCA, all that stuff. But I actually was able, between Laura, myself, and Jericho, able to compile the list of what she did.
Mm.
I didn't get it all on the application page, so none of you could actually see it ahead of time. So maybe if there's a little bit more of a lag time and the deadline backed up a week or so, So if we're missing that essential information, Laura can, or one of us can reach out to that person and say, give me some more.
Can you share with me the time frame of all this? Because I forget what the,
It's always in May, June. we
I
have
didn't hear the
lunch.
question.
oh, just the time frame for this award process.
Oh, it's 2 months
May,
to
June.
nominate someone.
And they
so-
choose them in June?
And
I think we selected a candidate on the
the
May
first
first.
and the main meeting,
Okay,
yeah.
so I think the
One
timeline,
was in June.
yeah, I think the timeline was that the form was finalized in like February, January.
Yeah,
February.
they have plenty of time to nominate somebody, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They did, just that they didn't put enough information,
I think
bio
we
down.
can't ask people, we can't, we can only judge people on what they put on the form, but we can adjust the form to have a bio section to pad that information out a little bit.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, that's
To
probably a
add
good
that
idea.
section.
So if someone wants to elaborate, they can.
So that when we're looking to start this back up again in, for the January meeting, let's have a discussion, let's just like take a look at the application form and then alter it slightly, and then when Laura goes to distribute it, it should be sorted.
Yeah, Abby, you wanted to?
Well, I was just wondering, what confused me, so I'm new to the board too, but what confused me about the nominating was that we also had to have a second and a third. And I barely, so I knew, who I wanted, but then we had to come up with a second and a third. Do we really have to do that?
Yes.
Okay,
We have done it
so-
with the first choice
Yeah.
only, and we have deadlocked many times.
I think that might be a nice reminder to the people voting that, you have to come up with know who your second and third choice are too, because that's part of this.
I don't. think that-
Jericho, I have a question. Is
Sure.
it's, is there any rules against some of the other senior nonprofit organizations actually sharing this information on social media to
That-
vote for seniors?
That would be entirely up to the decision of this council. To my knowledge, no. And to my knowledge, it would probably get a wider pool of candidates if it was more widely circulated.
Okay, so when you say no, you mean there's no problem or
There
no?
is no,
you
I'm
can't
sorry,
do that?
there are currently no restrictions on any sharing of this.
Okay,
If
that's
you
all I needed
guys-
to know.
Yeah, like, that's not there's no hard rule on this. It's a policy decision by this body on how they want to run it.
Okay, because I can certainly help with that, at
Yeah.
least 3 separate channels, so.
And I put it up on my Facebook page, up on Nantucket Year-Round Community and up on Wisconsin Gazette, so I spread it around on that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
So it seems like we should put an agenda item for like a brief review of the senior of the year in January.
okay.
With an idea of us putting a finalized copy out in February and then closing the voting period. Were you suggested 2 weeks?
I suggest 2 weeks to give us
2
time,
weeks.
and if there's something missing, we have time to ask if something's missing.
Yeah, and I think so. I think what we would do in that case would be, we would close the voting. This is just a proposal. We close the voting. We do 2 weeks where all council members would have time to ask clarifying questions, build additional information in, and then potentially. Are they nominated anonymously? Not necessarily.
No,
They don't all-
you have to put your name
We
and
have
phone
to put your
number.
name on. Is that
But, we've never called any of the nominators to say, you nominated this person, but we need more information,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so. That's one thing we could do,
Fine.
reach out, say, this was inadequate information for us to make a decision.
That's what I was after, is that
Yeah.
thing, plus the phone numbers are not asked for, there's the nominating name, we can say and phone numbers or
Yeah.
contact.
It is asked
information.
for,
Is it on
Yeah.
the bottom with the?
the
contact
person doing the
information?
So
nomination.
maybe you
is
do that
asked
with the
for.
top 3 choices or something.
So then,
Reach out and
then
call
we
their
can do that.
nominator.
And then if you were, and then on that January agenda item, we would then just review, get your top 3 ready. I can have a worksheet ready for you guys, like just a cheat sheet where you have your 1, 2, 3 for each category, and then we're good to go.
Cool.
And one thing people need to know is, we've had people nominated year after year and they didn't get it the first year or the second year, but they got it the third year, so. You can come back and nominate the same person again.
And people from NCEA have been nominated and voted in, so just because you're a member of NCEA or one of the other ones. Except for our own group. You can be nominated by anything, anywhere out there,
Yeah.
hospice, anything out there. So long as they're not paid for the job that they're being nominated for.
Makes sense.
Because we've had somebody nominated at a senior center
Yeah,
repeatedly because she's just a phenomenal human being and has put herself out there despite her own limitations. But she gets paid to do it. So when she retires,
She's in.
she's in, basically.
So, those of you who are on Zoom, do you want to add any comments here?
No, I'm good.
I'll say a quick thing. I thought it was great. I thought the luncheon was lovely. And I feel like it would be really nice in the future if those who nominate an individual, if they actually got up and maybe said something about
Oh,
the
good idea.
why-
Okay,
Because I didn't do that this year for her.
okay.
Yeah, that gives
I
it a
thought
little
about
more.
that. A little more personal as to why
Yeah.
you did what you did.
Yeah, especially because for
but-
some, like for myself, I knew one of the individuals. I didn't know the other one very well, but it's just so it's nice for those who don't know these individuals to learn all the great things they do for the community. So
Great, thank you.
But that was the biggest group we've had in there in a long time.
It was a very good group, and I have to give a shout out to Peggy Kaufman, who organized the event, because Peggy doesn't just organize the event.
No,
She puts butts in seats,
this is fair.
and that makes the biggest difference.
It was well attended, and I think we had more candidates this year than we had in previous years.
Actually, no, we had fewer candidates this year than the previous year. I noticed that when I did the
Yeah.
press release.
the thing is that one had like 12. Another one had like 8,
Yeah,
so.
just a few
It's just a
difference, but
fluke kind of thing. But I thought the luncheon was terrific.
yeah, the luncheon was very good. And
And
the,
her family came, I mean, everybody was just so excited for the people that.
yeah, and the fairgrounds always does a great job, yeah.
I like that was the prime rib.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna summarize all of these comments, as Jericho suggested for the January meeting. I'll have them all bullet pointed, so everybody has them in advance. And if anybody has any additions at that time, we can discuss it further, but, we're gonna look at the whole thing one more time in January, and thank you very much, everybody, for your comments. I'm gonna move on to the next item, which is planning for the Senior Expo 2024, which is October 19. I hope it's on everybody's calendar. Linda and I are co-chairing this event, and we've had several meetings so far.
10-1.
10 to 1 o'clock at the high school, October 19, a Saturday.
We'll start spreading the word since we get everything done.
And one of the major accomplishments so far is that we have a logo. So Arlene, who's our publicity manager, is prepared to show us all the logo.
Jericho, can you
I will say.
like enable me to share my screen?
Yes, give me where to go? There it is.
And let me just pull up the PDF while you're doing that. Okay,
All right, you are co-hosting?
okay.
You-
So
Oh, okay.
everybody can see the screen here. So there were, from the last meeting we had, there were 3 logos that I sent to the committee based on the feedback that was given. So this was the first one. And just so you know, the 2 people sort of holding arms together and the name, you know, kind of bounced around a little bit along with the tagline underneath. And of course, the fonts changed as well. So that was version 1. Version 2, the request was to see it sort of framed in and closed like a smiley face, which I felt did not do it justice. It kind of looked a little too boxy, particularly when it shrinks down to here. So version 3 was a combination of keeping the abstractness of the smiley face versus the 2 people helping each other, or whole, you know, this
This solid blue is meant to be assisting someone who is needing help. And then changing the font to something that's much more legible, and you can see in the smaller version down here, let me just make this a little bit bigger. If that's better, it works really well when it's translated down. And then I also did a version that was a horizontal versus a sort of a vertical or square-ish logo.
What
And it
size,
seems that so far, everybody seems to be liking this logo here.
what size is the font of the connections and resources for well-being? When it gets reduced, what size is the font?
It all depends, Linda, because this is built as a vector file. So, when you see that it's here, this is very legible. So that's the way logos go. You don't adjust the font size of the logo when it shrinks down. You keep it the same. This size would rarely ever be used, but I can still read it saying Nantucket Senior Expo. This one is, of course, much smaller or a little bit bigger, but this is completely legible.
All right, the only reason I'm asking is because of who we are. Handicap font is 14.
So it's a vector graphic, so
Yeah.
it scales.
It's a vector graphic, so it remains in place and it adapts to the size that it's being used. So if this is being used in a newspaper ad, which I don't even know if we're gonna have that ability to do. Or if it's being put on a poster, the person who's laying out the poster, which should be a graphic designer, is responsible to make sure it's legible. So right now, we're really just looking to put a nail in the coffin on this one so that the logo is finalized and we don't keep going back and forth over the font style and colors and all of that kind of stuff.
Abby has a question or comment.
Arlene, is this a design you do every single year for the fair so this is a fresh?
No,
Just
no, this is, you guys have never had a appropriate logo, in my opinion. Whatever you've been using in the past was something that was done by someone that was not a graphic designer. So
Okay, I was wondering if you should have a date on it, or if this is going to be used again. I mean, you could always use it again and take the date off, but of the
I
Fed.
think this is
I
just.
can tell you that it's more
just
economical for the organization, for any organization to not put a date in a logo. The date gets added into the promotion itself. So that as the promotions change from year to year, you can do that, but the logo should be a standalone piece.
And is the little blurb on the right, is that something that,
That's just her.
No, that's just
recommendation.
her editorial.
okay, okay.
Yeah, that
so-
was just a note that I sent to the committee, in saying that, Linda had given me some feedback at the last meeting and I liked that feedback. And, obviously the font had changed into something that was much more solid and,
Easier read.
thicker,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Well, personally, I think it's a great graphic and it says so many things and it reconfirms the green with the senior and just they're sort of happy colors. It's a very positive design. I think it's terrific.
Thank you.
Great.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve the logo.
Well, we already approved it at the subcommittee, so it doesn't require the approval of the whole Council on Aging.
It should, only because the subgroup can't really make
I
votes.
don't think it's necessary.
I don't think unless, does anyone have an issue with it?
No,
Then I think we don't need a motion for it. 'Cause it
It just is.
yeah.
Okay.
And then when we will make an approval of the final, like a final release of the actual.
well, the
flyer
poster,
itself.
yeah, all that stuff. We have to vote on it here, as we can't vote on it in that subcommittee.
No.
Arlene, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
That's great.
Jericho, I have a quick question for you. So
Yeah.
because the Council on Aging is a town committee,
Yep.
and I know the town is part of NCTV, right? The relationship that's there. If I put together a still, and give it to them to put on their TV channels or whatever, is that appropriate to do so? Because it's for members only. So I
So-
don't, how
How that works.
councils work with that. I just don't know what the rules are with that.
So I think the NCTV has a contract, they're not, they're a nonprofit with very tight connections to the town. One of those connections is that we get a pre-approved X number of advertisements of different types.
Yeah.
We can probably get it in front of NCTV, it just would not be, I think you would have to send it to me first, and then I would reach out to try and figure out how that works. But I think that there is a process by which it goes in, so I don't think it's a direct, I've never done that particular part of it before, so I'm not sure. But I think that we could have them publicize this to a certain extent, I just don't know, I'm not on the contract, that's a contract with admin, so I have to talk to administration, and then administration lets me know what the protocol is.
Yeah, because that's gonna be the next step, is working out the budget and the advertising of this event and how that gets paid for and where it goes type of thing. So I would want to try to get that nailed down in advance before
Doing too much more.
before taking another step. So that I'm not waiting for people. I just want to create the campaign, have the budget done, and then I go, so I don't have to keep looking back to you guys to say, is this okay? Can we afford this? And that's not the way to do a campaign. So
Speaking of that,
We have our
Arlene just
next
brought it
up,
up. Have we brought up the money amount that we want from NCEA yet?
we have not gotten to the budget yet, but we have our next meeting on next Monday, noon at the Salt Marsh.
okay.
Yes, so you should have that on your calendar as well, Arlene, next Monday.
All right.
Noon, Salt Marsh.
Got
And
it.
I also want to mention for other members, we have done a save the date email from Laura to about 50 potential vendors.
Great.
And she's already getting some people signing up. So it's now August. We will send another message asking for people to formally reserve a table so that they're there.
We had about 100 people on that list that we got 2
I
meetings
don't
ago.
remember the exact number, but
It's like
Laura has done this so many times and she has a personal relationship with all these vendors, so I feel very confident about that. I've also reached out to the hospital. Amy Lee, the president, told me, yes, they'll be involved. She's not sure at this point exactly how. Of course, this weekend is their big deal, so I'm trying not to bother her till that's over with. So
Hopefully it's not
the
gonna
pops
rain.
is this weekend, so
Looking good.
yeah, we'll see what
It's a
happens
couple
with
of
that.
things going
That
on.
hurricane's coming right up.
So we're also nailing down, besides vendors at tables, we're nailing down speakers and demonstrations. I asked the hospital if they could provide some speakers. We're also already, many of us, Erin is also on our committee. So we're nailing down people who could do demonstrations and speak on topics. So by our next meeting, we should have a lot of the information so that you know exactly how the whole event is going to work.
And food demonstrations.
Are the speakers paid speakers or free speakers?
Some of them will be paid and some of them will be free.
And entertainment, we gotta deal with the entertainment.
I can't hear you.
Entertainment, we gotta deal with that. Whether you're doing entertainment or not.
So, and if anybody here has any suggestions, if you think of it even outside of here, just send them to Laura and we'll, definitely, people that you think would be good speakers or make a demonstration.
Just send to Laura.
Yeah, Laura's like the conduit for information since we can't technically talk to each other outside this meeting. So anything that you think of, just send to Laura, any ideas. She's happy to have them.
We used to do it on our own, just for people's edification. We used to do it on our own and we were fine. And then hospitals started doing their thing.
Yeah.
They roped us into doing our thing with them, which sort of diluted our objectives. And then COVID. And so now we're back to doing our own thing. It was always very well attended.
I'm gonna move on to the next topic, which is Jericho, because he has to leave early, so.
Well, we're both in the same place, so here.
So I'm gonna wrap up on all about the senior expo and move on to Jericho.
I'm gonna do an abbreviated version. We've had, there's always a lot of stuff going on with human services, but the big bullet points from, since May has been, we're getting ready for a new grant season, the contract review committee, for human services and substance misuse grants, which are town money that's collected locally that is then distributed to nonprofits providing services here. We'll be doing some process discussions, and then we should be open for submissions. Tentatively September will be the release of the request for proposals, and then collection should happen, the due date should be in early October. And then we should be rendering decisions by hopefully November or so. And then additionally, senior facing stuff. We're trying to, some new instructors down at the Salt Marsh. We're looking to have a regular standing computer tech clinic going on, in addition to the ones that I do, or I was doing outside of the summer. On a monthly basis, we're hopefully gonna have a couple of bi-monthly tech clinics where you can bring your devices in. And then we're looking to add in some additional exercise activities. For general human services and health department related stuff, since technically this is health and human services. New director will be starting. We have some tick-borne illness discussions on the way right now, where we're gonna be trying to get together a summit of a couple of researchers and experts from off island to analyze our data, and then we're also gonna be working with them to do some outreach and education on tick mitigation. We're hopefully gonna get a bunch of, I think it's paramectin treated socks and other outdoor activity, which are very solid tick repellents. And then we're gonna be distributing, hopefully, a variety of information on a couple of new tick-borne illnesses called alpha-gal syndrome, which is the you get allergic to red meat tick-borne illness, and then some work around tularemia as well. Other than that, it's been steady state. We're almost totally restaffed in the health department. Our town health nurse is back. And we have hired and added another person to the business manager position, or sorry, office manager position for Health and Human Services, which used to be Ann Medina's position way back, was Tanika briefly beforehand, and is now Alexandria Richards. So things are looking pretty well. Very happy to have it. We will be very happy to have a new health director. I've never wanted a boss as much as I do right now, but it'd be nice to have one. And then that's about it.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Any questions or comments?
And this could
Jer-
be stuff where you have like, why is this happening in the town, and we'll try and figure it out for you. And if you can't think of anything, just send me an email.
Who'd they hire to run the health department?
They hired a gentleman called Rocky Miramontes.
Way away.
Yeah, well, from Atlanta. He is a CDC trained guy who's been working with communicative diseases for a very long time. I took a look at his curriculum, like his CV and a bunch of other, some of his white papers, publishes and speeches. He's a very competent, very well-trained public health person with a focus in a lot of the kinds of communicable diseases or public health responses that I think are very pressing for the town. So I'm looking forward to him hitting the ground running here. I think he will be starting once his housing is ironed out, which should be in September.
That was gonna be my question.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he is
He
housed.
is.
He is housed.
But he knows nothing about septic systems, and he knows nothing about Massachusetts laws, so he'll have to really.
Well, but
come up
fortunately, we have John Hedden, who is an expert on that, and has been doing it for many years. So I don't think it's really gonna be that big of an issue.
Because everything here is septic.
It's really only about 30% of the total usage. So
But the most greatest trouble.
it's the biggest pain in the ass. It's very much a 20% of the wells, probably 80% of the problems.
So it's your job to make sure he's happy, Jericho.
Yes. I was the previous director's emotional support animal, and I am happy to be the next one's emotional support animal as well.
You and I have 15 minutes.
Yes, and I'm gonna be only about 5 minutes.
Any other comments or questions for Jericho?
And Laura's not here.
Where's Rob? So-
Oh, this is gonna be fast because Laura is not here to make a report. And Robert is not here to make both of his reports. So I'm gonna wind this up with very brief information. We have, the Council on Aging has received 2 new grants.
Yay,
Yeah,
what do we get?
we've been hitting the jackpot lately. We got $8,000 to fix that long closed entrance to the Salt Marsh. and widen the ramp so that wheelchairs can turn around more easily. So the rest of that will be paid for by the NCEA, who still owns the building, but at
That's
least,
terrific, Mary Ann.
yeah, we're giving them $8,000 toward that.
Great, what's the other one?
And the other one is for the Memory Cafe, which has been put on by the community school out at Sherburne Commons a few times. They're getting $7,500 and they're very happy with that. So
Great.
it's great that we're collaborating too with two organizations, both serving seniors. So this
Where do
is
we get
good.
the money from? Who gave us-
The money comes from Massachusetts, what is earmarked for seniors in the state of Massachusetts. And if, you know, they try to, I'm starting to figure out how the money gets apportioned. And I'm seeing that the last time we applied for the Memory Cafe, we got turned down. This time we got it. So there, it's a rolling thing. It'll go to different towns each time, but
And they seem to like, in my experience, they seem to not want to fund the very first year of a new program somewhere. If it runs for a year and and you're still in a position to be requesting more money, they're much more likely to do it. Although they did do a great job with that the idea of the hand grant is well thought out.
yeah, this
Yeah,
is.
I like that, and the transportation one and all the other.
If people aren't aware of the transportation money, I want you to be aware of it because we had a transportation grant for $7,744. That was also from the state of Massachusetts. And when that ended, one person stood up, Peter McCausland, who's on the board, I believe, of the Community Foundation, who said, we can't let this just end. So he designated his own money from his own foundation, $100,000 towards senior medical transportation. And you can get applications from the Salt Marsh. And when any senior goes anywhere for medical reasons on or off island, you can get reimbursed up to $500 per trip, with a total over the year of $1,750. So this is a great thing for seniors, and I hope everybody takes advantage.
So
of
how do they find out about it? The seniors that might need this
it.
transportation monies. How do
Who's
they-
that in the newsletter? We should make sure. it's
Well,
in
the
newsletter.
grant was actually made to the Center for Elder Affairs. So Arlene, I don't know if you're doing much publicity for them. That's kind of for you to decide, but I'm trying to shout from the rooftops about this because not only is it $100,000, but if they receive matching money, the McCausland Foundation will match the matching money up to another $100,000. So it's like a gold mine for seniors who have to spend so much money to go off island, especially for medical reasons. And it can cost $500 a trip.
No, you're right, Mary Ann, and I do have that information from the NCEA. So I will give that an extra push and
Yeah,
get
give it a
my
push.
behind it.
Yeah.
Can you send me the information? I'll start posting it.
Sure thing.
I'm gonna have to depart.
I think that we could actually,
to try and do.
unless anybody has anything else.
Where are we doing it?
It's in an office, it's virtual only.
I know. But where am I supposed to go?
So Jericho has to go.
I
but we've
mean,
come-
yeah, Fine,
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Jericho has to go.
I have to go.
Linda has to go
Well, we need you here to make.
to another meeting, but I want to make sure there's nothing else on anybody's mind before we shut this down.
Can I just, you said something about Monday at the Salt Marsh to go over the.
It's for our subcommittee.
It's, I don't
It's
have
just our
to.
subcommittee. You don't have to
Okay,
be there.
okay.
No. You're relieved. of that.
Okay, motion to close.
Okay.
To adjourn.
Second, to
I'll-
adjourn the
I'll
meeting.
second that motion.
Thank you, Abby. I have to go down the list, don't I? Abby? This is
Yes.
To adjourn. Erin,
Yes.
Arlene?
Yes.
Arlene? Yes. Lisa?
No,
Non-voting.
non-voting.
Oh, yeah, I get
Linda
it.
has
So
yes.
sorry. Linda?
Yep.
Mary Ann, yes. Okay, we are adjourned and thank you, everybody,
Yeah.
for being here.
Thanks, everyone.